What we will talk today about, because we also executed several webinar sessions already, talking in general about possibilities of conversational AI platform, how we are using it, talking about like a scale of the content that we currently able to, let's say, host on the platform and connectivity to on-premise SAP systems. And today we'd like to present how easily actually the content that is built on a platform can be reimagined for different cases like telemedicine, for instance, solution, considering like a COVID-19 situation where everyone now in. And so we decided to have internal 24 hours hackathon inside a Skybuffer team and reuse our solution and see whether it's really flexible enough to just take skills, a bit tune them, add like a few more skills to cover some specific topic and like a leg breaks. Yeah? So disassemble a bit what you already assembled before and try to make a new nice, toy, let's say like this, that really work well and execute actions that are needed. So talking about a general challenge that we had, once we started building our content, we had actually we understand this challenge from the three sides. So first of all, of course, facilitation of communication with an IT landscape. It's a little bit different that's been before when chatbot was assumed to work with one system, like for instance in a Copilot age, previous version of Copilot. So it's been locked in S4HANA. Of course, it was possible to unlock it a bit. So, but yeah, it's in any case sit on in a launch pod. So we understood that the cognitive automation it's for the landscape, not for the system. So it means it needs to be able to talk to SAP on-premise, non-SAP system, cloud system, so whatever else. But it should be one unified chatbot. And if it is like a unified chatbot, then it should speak many languages. So it should be multiple language bot from the very beginning without additional training. And of course, it's not actually possible if you will train language by language. So because first of all, the bot will be really huge and not so fast like we like it to be. Second of all, so in any case, we need to have like hundreds of trainers to train on the different languages. So then we decided that we better have hundreds of translators, interpreters who can translate actually replies from the bot. It's like a 1 or 2 days work, and then we simply maintain a vocabulary. So that's how we achieved like a multiple lingual of the bot. And the third thing that we try to address is how we can seamlessly integrate an operator. So it means how we can, because it's been a little bit touched on the previous presentation, that we need to have a chat platform also that is working with the chatbots. That's absolutely correct, because that's a necessity. So we need a human expert to be able to monitor. So we need to have a categorized login for sure of all conversations, because we need to build a reporting on top of it. Not only the number of conversations, not only the intent that are triggered, but actually also the categories of, say, tickets or service requests that's been enabled, that have been served by the bot, or maybe in some cases where operators seamlessly integrated and either talk to the user or talk to human or artificial intelligence as well. Because, well, the very simple case, if I will say I'm having a pain in my arm, sick leave, it's obvious. Of course, model could not be trained well. And then it will be like a fallback action. In case we have seamless integration of operator, so operator can tell the chatbot that like create a sick leave and it will execute the sick leave scenario. And I don't need to run through all this like questions manually. So I return in back conversation to the bot. So it means I'm working in a hybrid mode. So as an operator, I can manage the bot, I can manage the user. So and that's a challenge we also try to address with our solution. And of course, we need to use like SAP software for this, just like to harmonize all things together. So what we built, what we developed is currently more than 400 skills sitting in one mindset, means in one chatbot, working with a different line of businesses. Of course, we understand that we do have HCM that can be a little bit reimagined for telemedicine. So that's what we used as a foundation as a ERP system. S/4HANA on-demand, on-premise, system can be used for telemedicine as a foundation, because we need to capture the patient data, like contact details, like general personal data. We need to keep illnesses, pathologies. We need to keep all these checkups that are performed. So, and that's why we decided, okay, so we have 24 hours, so we can take like S/4HANA or ERP, HCM, so pretty good delivered out of the box, and a little bit add some info types for the illnesses. So that's what we did. So, so what we built, so we built a couple of skills that allows to, let's say, be used for the current case, for COVID-19 case, and at the same time, so it can be reusable after by hospitals. That's actually what we are doing now. So a little bit pushing it on the market for hospitals that already have like a digital core, because that's something like a must-to-have thing. If they don't have digital cores, it's too early to think about the chatbots as well. And we either can integrate in a digital core, or we can use like a data replication from SAP on-premise system to the digital core, depends from the security scenario. So how it works, I will show the live demo, so it will be better, let's say, interesting to see it. I will run it from our website. So actually on our website, we have a demo portal with SAP ERP system underneath, so everyone can try it. Of course, you don't have SAP user ID in our system. You can simply ask chatbot to create user for you. So then you will get it together with the personal number and all the pre-generated data. You can play a bit. Why we do this demo portal? Why we host it? So because that allows to see how chatbot works when it is connected to corporate landscape. So of course, when chatbot working only on the conversational AI platform, well, you don't have these problems like the response time of the backend system, actually the response time of the identity provider. It's really a huge sandwich of skills that should be executed. Sometimes it's up to 9, up to 10 skills even you need to execute to get an answer back, like doing user authentication, run through some validation, use like some digital tokens for each message, because in case a conversation ID is hijacked for whatever reason. So we need to avoid situations when we have like a man in between cases. We also need to act differently in different channels. So for instance, in the WhatsApp, we like to have on the 10 skills be active, and in the Teams, we like to have hundreds of skills, and it still should be one chatbot. So then that's how it should be configurable. And that's like biggest difference from some let's say mock-ups of the chatbots, some prototypes to the enterprise chatbot. Well, in any case, enterprise chatbot is not like something that takes you ages. Of course, we are developing it almost 2 years now. We started like in the June, July 2018. And all skills we have, you can find them on our website. So we try to update it daily with GIF animation per each skill. You will see a line of businesses, and for sure our healthcare, let's say a small healthcare industry solution that I will just execute and show. For instance, for current COVID-19 case, I can say like I have a fever. So it's just imagine like any occurrence that might occur when patient comes to the website where we have this chatbot that support doctors, support the healthcare, support actually healthcare experts currently, and we need to grab some parameters, but it's not about like telling the user whether you need to pass a test, for instance, or give some recommendations. That's about tracking. So that's about a personal patient registration and illness progress tracking. So it's one step further from the old chatbots that are currently created. So for instance, I will tell my temperature, and now I will run through authentication process. I'm not coming from the channel where we do have participant data. So in this case, it will try to authenticate me using my phone number. It's quite easy if I'm like a regular patient, so then we can send an SMS. So once I provided my telephone number, so what currently does, it looks in the system and find out like my name. So in this case, I simply confirm it, and then we need to validate it. Yep. So we need to somehow like send a one-time code, for instance, to the user, to the patient, and that's what we do. So we simply send it to my mobile phone. Now I got it, and once I authenticate myself, 339. Yeah, that's what I got. So then I get an access to the information that's previously stored in the system, and then it will be connected to what I already captured, let's say, within a previous checkup. So I provide some answers here. For instance, whether I have a bad cough. If not, so how can I describe it? All right, so it can be dry. So, well, just like a regular, of course, list, and then we need to save this list somewhere in the backend. So it might be directly connected to hospital digital core. What we used, we simply used SAP ERP system underneath to store this data, and then we can use like a bunch of replication mechanism that the ERP system has, so to simply transfer data to a digital core of the hospital. So that's, and the installation of such kind of environment will not take longer than like up to 5, maybe 7 days if you manage it as a partner managed cloud. So everything is captured now in the system. And yep, so if I go here and try to find out actually my patient number, so that's a system underneath. I have several of myself in the system. 1 second. Yep. Right, so that's a patient probably that is used last. Right, so and if I go to the diseases that I have, so that's like a checkup that has happened. That's how it captured actually. So we can manage like a different pathologies for sure. So, and it's not necessary that you have only VRI. Well, VRI is when you don't have a test, so you might have a diabetes, so you can do like a weekly diabetes checkups with the push notifications as well here. So that's how system actually capture and stores the data. And if we will see some patients with longer history, so then everything is captured here, and we have here like a user with let's say several pathologies, so you can see like a different disease IDs, and yeah, of course, like based on this information, so you can see whether the person was ill, so whether the like test was captured. So it means it can be used both. It can be used by the patients in the chat channels, and it also can be used by doctors for sure, because well, we have like a Fiori UI, we have some GUI UI, so where data can be fulfilled as well. Additional channel might be the channel where we do have actually participant data. So here I can say track my illness, and well, I have a little bit another patient here with different pathologies. So what we will do here, so it's like actually WhatsApp channels. It works a bit differently from the web chat, because we need to consider several things. First of all, it's how your WhatsApp API provider works. Second of all, also how SAP system and backend works. And sometimes, like you see it on the screen now, so the WhatsApp replies back like in just like a several seconds. But I can see it's another problem. It's my phone is not connected. Let me make sure that my phone is connected. Okay. Right. So now I think it will be connected. Yep. So that's what happened when you, okay, now it's connected. It's not a platform actually, or WhatsApp that is replying back. That's my internet connection that's been dropped with this WhatsApp. Right. So you see, and currently I have 2 choices. Of course, you can wrap them differently, but why I would like to show the WhatsApp. First of all, it's quite a popular channel. Second of all, we don't have buttons here, and that's a problem. And that's what we support as well in our content. So in the same time, so in case we are like in the channel where we have buttons, where we have quick replies, where we have lists, it's really nice to work with such kind of elements. However, if we move to the voice channel, if we move to the WhatsApp channel, so here we have text. So and here is like a different cases are possible, how we can process it. So first of all, there's like not so straightforward case. For instance, when I need to provide a reply in text. For instance, it's like a selection list of pathologies that I have registered for my personal number in a backend system. So I select one that I like to track currently. And then system will, of course, recognize it and route me based on the pathology checklist. And of course, in case we understand that we are in a WhatsApp channel, we need to respect that it's only a text channel, and we can use here numbers, like a quick reply. So you can simply like put 1, 2, 3, and then it will be faster. Additionally, what we use here as well, we understand that WhatsApp has a voice messages. Yep. So what I will do here now, so I will tap my button and we'll say two. Yep. So and 2. Yep. So when you see like a voice message is sent. So here we're of course doing like a transcript of the message and recognition of the language. And then in case user is somewhere on the way where typing it not so easy, like you're scrolling a bit, so and so then you need to provide a reply back, so then you can use a voice message. So again, we need to consider that altogether it gives some delays on the way, and so if you will work more with the WhatsApp APIs, you will see how it works altogether. Sometimes it's provide actually a reply back fast. Yeah, sometimes it's somewhere like it is currently. Maybe my phone is again disconnected. Let's see. No, it is. Yeah. All right, so probably I will not wait unless it's reply back. And it depends from the WhatsApp provider. Actually, we're using subscription from Twilio. Maybe another one will work better. But today's extremely not good. Okay, so I will show like from the slides on, because I have it prepared for such kind of cases. So what happened here? So you can simply pass through it either with text or with voice messages. So then voice messages are transcribed back and into the text, and and then they can be processed as a simple steps as well. What additionally we can do with this solution? So we can schedule like a background report, for instance, in ERP background or in a digital core background of hospital system, and for some pathologies like VRI, like COVID-19. So when we need to do like checkups several times per day, so we simply can send a push notifications, because in some channels, push notifications are possible. Of course, it's like a Telegram, it's a WhatsApp, it's a messengers where we can keep, let's say, a constant, permanent conversation ID, or we can access them directly. And here we actually need to do it in a following way. So we should not, of course, type to the messenger all the time with a script, but we need to use the power of conversational AI. For example, so what I will show you now, so it's how we can have a look into all conversations that are currently ongoing. So that's a very simple solution on top of Solution Manager. Why Solution Manager? Because many leads, many customers we're talking to, so they like to save logs of conversations not in cloud, but in on-premise. Well, sometimes it's security regulation. So what you can see here, so we have currently several cases, several conversations that are ongoing. So it's been one from the website, another one from the WhatsApp, and all these conversations could be viewed by the human expertise, by the human expert that when I mentioned actually at the beginning in the real time. So we have automatic categorization here, so that we know the channel, we know that it's healthcare, we know it's like a VRI case. We also can see the whole conversation here, and we can talk directly to the user, or we can talk directly to conversational AI. And that's a mechanism you can also use when you do a push notification. So first of all, you have, like, let's say, a message that you like to send to the user, and then you have utterance that you like to use to trigger the skill. So for instance, here you can say, like, let's do a regular checkup, and you send it to the user. And once you send it to the user, so then it's visible here. Yep. So user got this message from the solution manager, from the hybrid chats, and of course you would not like to run it separately, either from a script, from RPA, or from human experts. So, but what you need to do, so now you need to send, because you know the conversation idea. So now you need to send it to AI, and then you can say something like a symptoms check. Yep. So something like this. So, and once you send the message to conversational AI, so then you simply trigger a skill, like a necessary skill, and then this skill is routing user through the skill like you said before. So we again can ask about like whether cooking is good or bad. So what's the body temperature, and so on and so on. So means you can, like in a hybrid mode, so you can join like some messages from the background job, some messages from the human expertise, and at the same time you can join like a triggering of conversational AI, because conversational AI like scripts are quite big and nice and structured. So, and for sure you can simply then step out from this conversation if you triggered it manually, or you could even if it's like triggered by a job, so you don't need to see the UI. And that's how we see the workplace of let's say an operator, of an expert, because as an expert you can sit and monitor the dashboard of all the chats happening in your organization. You have a nice log in on-premise system, build the reporting out of the box, because Solution Manager ITSM has BW content for ITSM that is really reusable here. And also you have a confidence coming from conversational AI, so you see like whether replies are reading according to your expectations. You have like MPT tracking, for instance, like a maximum processing time. So if it's going down, so of course like we need to provide a support like in some timelines. For instance, if we have some KPIs that like each user needs, or each patient need to get a support in a 20 or 30 minutes, so then you set it up as a MPT, like a maximum processing time, and then you can say, okay, show me the conversation where we have MPT more than 100%. So it means either user spend a lot of time like to find out like a proper skill. Maybe it's been an operator who talked to user like for, I don't know, 15 or 20 minutes, or yeah, maybe it's been some other reasons. So on analyzing them, so of course you can influence not only of the percentage of the charts that you've been able to automate, but also on the time that it took users to get support. Because then it's like two facts, or two KPIs that you can improve. So once you automate like 80% of your charts, excellent. How long it take to get a support? Half an hour. Can we do 15 minutes, for instance? And then you return back even more from using conversational AI. So additionally, if you will see, we have here IRTs, like initial response time. So it's usually 0 for sure. It's obvious, because if you have conversational AI in the front line, so it should reply back. However, for the fallback cases, so we have and when operator is online, so we have IRTs that might be different from 0. Means user being a bit hold on the line, just like looking for the human expert support. So that's for instance a case when I come and say I have like a pain in my arm here. So then intent is I'm having a pain in my arm. So then intent is not trained to recognize it as a sick leave. And what will happen now? So we're searching in the chat platform, okay, whether someone is online here, someone that can provide a help. And then we'll say, okay, hold on, please. And here on the platform, so we mark it as a red message. We give like a 10, 15 seconds, depends from configuration, to operator to join. So if they have time, so if they have, let's say, not like in another conversation, for sure they can join, and then type directly again to AI saying like sick leave. So then we will trigger like AI scenario. So we don't need to talk to user here, and we have like a red case, then will be converted to the green case, like you see currently, and it's automatically categorized. and that's how users see it. So telling something, if you have human expertise that can spend like 10 seconds or 15 seconds to analyze a case and route conversational AI, so then then it really helps. And from reporting perspective, you can see such kind of cases. So you see like RT is not 0% here, so you can analyze all such kind of logs and say, okay, so now we see where we need to have additional training, or maybe there is no such kind of skill, and we need to add it, we need to develop it. So everything, any information or any decision can be taken based on this KPIs analysis. So like a categories times, like initial response, maximum processing time. You can say where operator was involved, because if when I stepped in and touched the ticket, so my name is captured here. If I didn't, if it's been like automatically served, of course it's like no operator here. So then you can say, okay, well, I know that like we had 90% of green cases, but where we didn't have operators is 75. So this 5% again is like a room to improvement, because we had like a human being that step in there. And additionally, so the same solution can be used for remote consultations in a healthcare, because once you start like typing, and with a chatbot, you can have like a persistent menu where you say, okay, like I like to have a consultation with an expert. We can grab some information, what is like a problem is. For instance, you can say, well, I'm just like a simply coughing, or well, I have like a diabetes as a pathology, so I like to have some consultations. And then you will be routed to one or another based on the categorization. You will be routed to one or another group of experts that can provide this remote consultations as well. So that's how we reimagine that this part of solution can be used. Talking about, let's use this one. Talking about like a landscape. So for telemedicine, it's really simple because as mentioned, so we had one day, let's say 24 hours to build it. So what we used like a conversational AI, some extensions to the platform we did, like a channel configuration, and a few more apps we have. Voice connector. Unfortunately, you didn't see how voice messages are working here. It just worked like before the demo, but I think the small is fine. And we have a kind of portal managed cloud. That's how we're seeing it, where we have S4 or business suite inside. It's for the doctor, like SAP GUI, Fiori access for patient data, and for sure, like ITSM. That's what you saw now with Fiori apps on top of it, where human expertise can be located and used to monitor like in real time what dialogues we currently have and influence to the dialogue flow, either talking directly, typing directly to the user, or typing directly to the conversational AI, to the bot, and probably simply leaving just like a note to IT support guys what to do, so and why actually operator stepped in. So that's a solution we built. I tried to a little bit talk about solution we have and how we reimagined it, and having some insight into the platform. Just compare, for instance, for how it will look like if you develop solution on top of conversational AI for some years. That's where you can end up, and that's what I agree as well with the previous presentations, that that's a no-code platform. Yes, we do have connectors, we do have webhooks where we program, but when you need to develop a skill, that's absolutely no-code. And that's the reason actually why we selected the conversational AI platform to build our content. So if we have a look into the build section of this solution, so it's a load in a bit for sure. So that's how it looks like. So we have roughly 500 of skill groups. So that's how you can use the skill groups if you have really thousands of skills, because currently we have roughly more than 1,200 skills. So then you definitely need a skill groups, because graphical representation is very nice for, let's say, medium-sized bots, but when you have a huge unit skill groups, and then you need to think like object-oriented. So that's what we did. Like each skill group might be considered as a as a class, that we have like in a standard programming and just like in the development. And in this case, it should have some interfaces. So interface is how you structure skills inside a skill group. So we agreed that we have interface with 4 methods, let's say 4 skills that might be developed is trigger, input function, and business fallback. That's another kind of fallback that you can probably imagine for your cases. Trigger, it's obvious, so it's a front door, how you go inside a skill. So it means it's a trigger, either entity, intent, or maybe memory. We do have dual trigger in almost all of our skills. Input, so we encapsulated input for different reasons. First of all, has been mentioned as well. So users' behavior is unpredictable. So sitting in one skill, we might need to jump out of it to another one because user changed its mind and you can't predict it. So they like to execute another skill. They like to trigger another intent. So in this case, input should be encapsulated a bit. So in input, you need to make a decision whether you will love to jump out from the skill or maybe you will capture whatever user says. And the very simple case, you have like a leave request and you need to leave a comment. And in comments are any sentence, anything that user can imagine. And of course, comment can trigger an intent. In such kind of cases, when you wait for the comment, you better stick to the skill and capture the sentence. In case you're just like in a skill, in the middle of a skill of creating a leave request or checking a credit limit or register a new patient, and user triggered the intent, then you need to jump out from the intent, from the input probably, and allow the skills to be triggered. So that's why we encapsulate input, and there we make a decision whether it's like a strict input or whether it's like, let's say, a floating input where you can jump out if you trigger another input, where you trigger another intent. So function it's a webhook, so it's more or less how we do in the applications development. So any connectors should be separate, then it's easy to manage. And a fallback, it's a backdoor. It might happen that you started, for instance, like creating a leave request, and you change your mind and say, we don't have like a paper in the printer, and we have possibility to create a shopping carts. So let me order first. And then you say, well, stop with leave request, create a shopping carts. And you run through the process, order the A4 paper. And once you did it, so the chatbot using the business fallback can return to the same point in time where you stopped with this leave request creation, say, okay, but what is the end date of your leave request? And then you said, well, it's a magic, So you still keep it in memory. You still consider it as a secondary skill once you are in the main one. And once the first one, the main one is empty, is ended up, is completed, we analyze, right, whether we have other skills that are activated on a way. And if we have some skills that are activated on a way, we simply return back to them. And to the same point of the skill. So if you captured like a first start date of the leave request, if we know that it's a regular vacation, we need to ask only the end, the date, and probably the reason. So that's why we use the business fallback. And then trigger looks a bit differently than what you saw. So you can have different triggers. You can have an intent or entity-based, you can have a memory-based, and different configurations of memory. So we use like from 5 to 800 of memory parameters per each conversation. And in this case, of course, like the combination of these memory parameters can lead you to the skill trigger. It's not necessary that you wait for the user input. If you understand, okay, so what user is talking about from the context of the discussion, you definitely trigger the skill. And we have like many such kind of skills. Even we have some skills, like 20 or 30% of the skills that you can't trigger via intent. You can trigger only via memory. So that's what we also do. And well, actions, all actions looks more or less the same. Of course, you have some conditions like that you analyze because let's wait a bit. Our bot is huge, so sometimes it takes time to open it. So we have some conditions to analyze, most memory conditions mostly. And of course, it can reply back in English, or it can reply back like in another language. And so in another language, we use vocabulary. So we call it translate, but actually it's vocabulary underneath. So then you simply grab the phrase from vocabulary. If you need to return back like a reply in Polish or in Ukrainian or in Russian or in Arabic, so you simply take it from vocabulary and then display it back to the user. So that's how conversational AI part looks like. But as you can see, it's no code. Yeah. So webhook, yes, it is coding. Well, no platform can allow you to do like a webhook with no code because of some integration purposes. We can consume, of course, some web services like a simple cases and generate the skills for sure. And then it will be like absolutely no code. Maybe it will be possible with the new releases. It's even better. But currently, compared to Google, compared to Microsoft, to Amazon, to Rasacom, to all other platforms where you need to code a lot, so here's a perfect. So you're really flexible. Memory conditions, it's awesome. Triggers by memory, it's fantastic. So and definitely you can build like a very flexible solution, very huge solutions that are hosted on the platform. That's what I have.